So I'm Marian Kelner, and I'm ready. Okay, it is 1968. The place is the East Village in New York City. This is the height of political revolution and the crowning year for the hippies. I was not particularly in the mainstream of hippiedom, but I sort of looked that way. I had long hair. I dressed sort of the way that I am dressed now. Well, this is a neighborhood that has been the home to generations after generation of immigrants. And it used to be a Jewish neighborhood and a German neighborhood, and at the time I was there, it was Hispanic. With these types of neighborhoods, often another group starts coming in and the people who live there start to feel threatened. And at this point, it was many Puerto Ricans and a trickle of hippies into that neighborhood. And many of you perhaps can remember St. Mark's Place. Well, this was the beginning when the little Birkenstock stores started and you'd have the hippies in the window carving leather to weave the sandals. And there would be pot shops and bongs and marijuana smell in the air and little cafes for music and so forth. Well, there was a lot of tension in that neighborhood. I was there and I was staying in my sister's apartment. This was a time when there were railroad apartments, so you had a bedroom, you had the bathtub in the kitchen, you had the bathroom in the hall, and the rent was about $65 a month. I was staying there, and one summer morning I decided to go down to Tompkins Square Park to relax, a little oasis in the middle of the metropolitan area. I had my little book, The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison, and I go down there, sit in the shade, and I'm sitting with my back to a wall very similar to this. I'm sitting there and all of a sudden, splat, I feel something hit my arm. I look down and there is a dripping, rotten apple, just sort of oozing toward the concrete. I do not take being hit lightly. I just sort of like a little fuse goes off. I picked up the apple and I'm looking around and I see this young Hispanic boy's face peering at me over the brick wall. I pick up the apple and he takes off and I take off after him. I am running as fast as I can. I position myself, I take the apple and flop, get him right square in the middle of his back. Then I think, I perhaps should leave the park. So I turn around, I recover my book, and I'm sauntering like this. You know, I have my tough New York walk. It served me well many times. But all of a sudden, I turn around just to make sure, and I see a whole gang coming after me. It's about 8 to 10 people, ages maybe 14 up. But these were the civilized days. And what happened was, as I sauntered out of the park, bam, I would feel something at the back of my head. I turned around, and they had sent a girl to fight me. It wasn't all the boys. They weren't there with Uzis like there would be now and machetes. They just sent the girl to take the hippie girl down. So what happened was, we started wrestling. I was very strong at the time, good old days. Wrestled her to the ground, pinned her to the ground, and I said, I don't want to fight. If I let you up, peace. This happened 3 times where she would jump on me, I'd pin her down, and we left. Finally, she was on the ground. I looked up, and the leader said, you can leave the park now. We won't hurt you, because I had won all the fights. But I couldn't leave the park, and I went and I sat on a park bench. The gang sat next to me. The leader was right here. He took out a Kleenex. He wiped my eyes. He tried talking to me about the book. And at some point, he snapped his fingers. The whole gang got up. They all left the park. I cried and went home. And the reason I want to tell the story is I think that that guy who led that gang was the greatest leader I ever saw. He used appropriate force, he met the enemy, he tried to save honor, and he maintained peace, and he honored his enemy. So I salute him wherever he is.